Apparently, Cortical Labs has trained their CL1 chip made up of 200,000 living human neurons to play Doom. Back in 2022, they trained a cluster of lab-grown human brain cells how to play Pong. Now they've built a neurocomputing system that could take on the world of Doom, which is digital and somehow translated into the biological electrical language of neurons. So they put the neurons on a microchip called a multi-electrode array and used Python commands and the CL API to map the digital video feed from the game and turn it into electrical stimulation patterns. If an enemy appears at a specific location or Doom Guy needs to shoot the enemies, certain electrodes will engage the sensory area of the neurons, and those stimulations are then interpreted as motor commands. While it currently plays much like a beginner who has never seen an imp, it shows promise that they can take a digital feed and translate it in real time to get feedback, and it can learn how to improve, and go from "I'm too young to die" to "nightmare!" exclamation point. This is the latest in science news. This is Mindblow. Well, we found an almost 300 million year old butthole. The fossil comes from the Goldlader Formation in Germany's Thuringian Forest Basin and shows imprints of the little creature's scales and what scientists deemed its cloaca, which is a structure used for many wonderful things like mating, laying eggs, and excretion. The reptile lived about 295 million years ago, was about 9 centimeters long, and using its size and nearby footprints, scientists think it was most likely a bolosaurian, an early form of reptile. The cloaca is shaped and positioned differently from other dinosaurs at the time, instead more closely resembling that of turtles, snakes, and lizards. That's what I call science. These marks may be a precursor to writing. As far as 40,000 years ago, the people of the Aurignacian culture may have used carved symbols to communicate. On various artifacts that included figurines carved from bone, antler, and ivory, researchers noted over 3,000 markings like lines, dots, stars, and zigzags. They then used algorithms and information theoretic models to measure how these symbols were structured and if they repeated. They found that the markings were made deliberately, with figurines carrying about 15% more information with symbols than tools did, and tools carrying around 10% more than flute-like artifacts. The patterns and symbols remained a stable source of some sort of communication for over 10,000 years, which suggests they had a function rather than just being decoration. So, good job, ancestors. Now here's a good job from fish. A finger-sized fish just passed a mirror test once used to test cognition in chimpanzees and elephants. The tiny fish was used in the experiment done by a team from Osaka Metropolitan University in Japan and the University of Neuchâtel in Switzerland. They first marked the fish and then introduced a mirror. On average, it took the fish around 82 minutes to notice the marking and try to rub it off, implying self-awareness. The scientists then observed some unusual behavior after the fish had several days to get used to the mirror. They noticed the fish would pick up small pieces of shrimp that were left at the bottom of the tank, carry it to the mirror, and then immediately drop it. The fish observed the reflection of the shrimp falling and touched the mirror with its mouth. The team believed this was perhaps the fish's way of exploring the mirror's properties like reflection, and say this sort of self-awareness could be a skill that arose in many different kinds of animals, not just great apes as once thought. So, yeah, let's heal some bones. This laser-structured hydrogel could one day replace traditional bone implants. Current implants used to help bones mend are made from either the patient's own bone, ceramic, or metal. Using the patient's own bone is called an autograft and requires a second surgical procedure, and metal implants can become loose over time and cause stability issues. This new jelly-like material has been developed to replicate the bone's early healing stages. The gel is 97% water and 3% biocompatible polymer. Specialized molecules were then incorporated to turn the liquid to a solid. When lasers hit this gel, it immediately bonds to exposed regions. Using lasers enabled the researchers to shape the hydrogel with great precision, the smallest being only 500 nanometers. They can produce laser writing speeds of up to 400 millimeters per second, which is a new world record. Take that, bones! So, scientists were able to take brain activity activity from mice, analyze it, and reconstruct videos of what the mice saw. They measured what specific neurons were firing in the visual cortex of the mice, ran the data through an algorithm, and recreated a video of what the mice saw in 10-second clips. They were also able to improve the accuracy of the videos by including information from more individual neurons. The dynamic neural encoding model they used could even take into account behavior like pupil diameter and running speeds. To achieve even more accuracy, they retrained 7 different versions of the model by using a blank screen as a base, calculating the difference between what was seen on a blank screen versus what something actually looked like. And my dream of stealing mouse thoughts gets one step closer to reality. Here's your monthly humanoid robot video. Helix is tidying up a living room. Helix was able to accomplish tasks like spraying a surface with cleaner and then wiping it down, tucking a container under its arm to free up its hands to pick up and put away blocks, and even throw pillows back to where they belong on the couch and arrange them. Thank you very much for cleaning up Helix. Alright, it's finally cow time. This is Veronica, and she just demonstrated what scientists are calling the first documented evidence of cattle using tools to accomplish tasks. In 70 trials, Veronica was observed using a broom to intentionally scratch different parts of her body. She first picked up and gripped the broom with her tongue, then maneuvered it to scratch herself. And she actually flipped the broom depending on the part of her body she wanted to scratch. Mainly using the bristled end, she would flip it to the handle end to scratch softer parts of her body, which I can totally relate to, Veronica. And now, the Robot Time Machine watch from 1984.
This is the world of Kronoform, the robot time machine that can transform.
Kronoform.
Transforms into a battle station.
Kronoform.
Transforms into a galactic shuttle, cosmic tank, a solar creature, a robot, and more. Kronoform.
Kronoform.
The robot time machine that can transform each time you tell time.
Kronoform, the robot time machine, each sold separately from Takara.